Because of that, I was very immature. Very easily, I would have this tendency to walk away from the relationship or to mention breakup.
We will never mention the word breakup, and if we mention it, it means that it will happen for you. And as we go into the marriage, it's also the same thing. We'll never mention the word divorce. If we mention it, then it's going to happen.
You just mentioned divorce. Hey everyone, so in this video, we're going to be answering some of the questions that you guys have submitted about how we manage our marriage, our business, and how we resolve disagreement and conflict. So let's get into it.
Well, I think it started from our marriage anniversary. I think when people talk about anniversary, it's like, oh, let's plan a trip. Let's go overseas and like enjoy ourselves. Yeah, we go overseas. We will usually book a place that is really secluded and that we can barely get access to anywhere else. We will just spend the next like 4 to 5 days with ourselves to talk about our marriage, reviewing how has the past year been, talk about our family, realigning our values again.
So that's where we realign our vision. Like, hey, are we still on this vision, right? Are we still pursuing this? Are we doing well financially? Are we growing? How is our kids doing? Are we making an impact in our social circle, and so on, right? So we will take time to realign all that, usually in like 4 or 5 days. Yeah.
And we do have a vision.
And have a lot of sex as well, yes.
And then we do have a vision. We did set vision and mission for our marriage as well. I remember when we first got married, and then we immediately flew for honeymoon. And that was the trip that we had a lot of sex. And also...
And after nothing to do, they were like, we're taught by one of our church leaders, right? During honeymoon, to not go somewhere that is very busy. You know, you go to a city and then you just end up being FOMO because you want to go and see places and then you get yourself even more busy, right? So he said, go and book a place, depending on your budget, that is nice and secluded and quiet and there's nothing else to do, okay? And then I've never been to Maldives, so I was telling myself, you know what, Maldives sounds good, right? And if you do not know about Maldives, right? Maldives is separated out of many islands, okay? So the resort, right, is in one island. Once you're at a resort, right, there's nothing else to do, right? Because there's no sightseeing whatsoever. It's just an island. Yeah. So after that, there was nothing to do, and then the only thing we can do is talk, right? So that was actually a very good advice because there was nothing to do, right? We had to talk, and then we started talking about our vision for our marriage. What do we want for the marriage? What do we see for the marriage, right? How do we see ourselves in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? It really started out as just very simple vision.
I think the question we asked ourselves was like, what's the point of getting married?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what was the purpose of this marriage?
If it's just a piece of paper, then what's the purpose? They might as well don't get married. Yeah. So if we're getting married, then we're going to build a life together. So the vision of our marriage, right, is to break boundaries and to be a shining light for Christ. And this is the reason why when we live our life, let's say we run our business, we build our marriage, again, we are called to be, as Christians, we are called to live a victorious life. And a life not of strife, like I have to hold the marriage, you know, bite my teeth and you know, deal with the disagreement. You know, not that kind of struggle, right? But what is a victorious life, right? A victorious life means that we are winning, and we are winning effortlessly. So, and that's our way of testifying the goodness of God. Because when people look at our life, we want people to say that, hey, when they look at our marriage, they're like, hey, you guys are killing it. Which we get it all the time, by the way. That we are crushing it in our parenting, we are crushing it in our marriage. But when people see us, and it's not a fake facade that we put on, we are really happy. We are proud of our kids, and we are proud of the business that we have built.
Yeah, I think another example of breaking boundary is just simply how we carry out our marriage. Do you know, like, there's this saying that goes around whenever someone gets married, it's like, wow, why do you dig your own grave? That kind of general advice or word that goes around. And for us, we didn't want to believe in that marriage should not be like every day I'm thinking like, why did I just dug my own grave? Yeah, but living in a life that like marriage is so damn good, you cannot believe it. Yeah, so I think that's one of the example of
So damn good.
so damn good. Yeah, one of the example of like breaking boundaries, right? Oh, I think a non-negotiable during disagreement is never to put our relationship or threaten our relationship. I think it began even when we started dating. Yeah, I remember we had this agreement that we will never mention the word breakup, and if we mention it, it means that it will happen for real. So do not take it lightly. And as we go into the marriage, it's also the same thing. We'll never mention the word divorce. If we mention it, then it's going to happen.
You just mentioned divorce. Anyway, I just want to add that when we first started dating, right, I was the immature one. I think in terms of relationship, I didn't know how to handle relationship when I was younger. I didn't have anyone who teach me how to do that. I pretty much have quite absent parents, and I didn't really have like mentors that were good in relationships. So because of that, I was very immature, and I think very easily I would have this tendency to walk away from relationship or to mention breakup. It reached a point of time that Zoe told me that that's not something that I should say, and that's not something that I should even consider if this is a relationship that I want to continue to hold. I think before marriage, you still can walk away from the relationship, but I think when you go into a marriage, right, you should be going to a marriage with the mindset that you're not going to walk away from each other ever again, right? Because that's the whole point of till death do us apart, right? That we are a team and we are one, until death do us apart. So that's one of the non-negotiable. We don't mention divorce. We might take some time to separate ourselves, be apart, but we will never, I would say, withdraw love. That again is back to what I was saying earlier. Like we deal with the issue at hand. That even if we are still, even we are quarreling and it was a big argument and everything, right? I still know that she loved me, and I know that I still love her because that is the decision that we have made. Love is not a feeling. It's not like I feel love, but love is a decision that I have made a conscious decision that I'm going to love her, no matter what, and that even when I disagree, even when we have a big fight, I will not withdraw love from her. Yeah. So I think these are the only two main non-negotiables.
I think
relationship have definitely a couple of times. But if we're talking about marriage, I cannot really think of any, as in like there are some major ones, but it didn't reach there lah. Yeah. For example, I think for me was the birth of our first daughter. After giving birth to our first daughter, I felt quite neglected for some time because I think it's very common, right, when a married couple have children, and for Zoe, she became a mother. The mother instinct is that you want to take care of the child and you want to spend as much time as possible with the kid. And sometimes there's even mother's guilt for just leaving the house and leaving your baby with someone else to take care. And I think there was a period of time that we didn't go out for date nights. We didn't really go out and spend time with each other. That I felt very alone and very lonely, even though it was a blessing to have a kid. I told her that, hey, let's go for a date night. And we're actually quite blessed. Your mother is my mother-in-law, right? I mean, is stay with us on certain days of the week. We have helpers also, and so I was like, why can't you just let go of the baby and let someone take care, just even for a couple of hours, right? And just go out on a date night with me, right? And I told her upfront that if we don't go out on a date night, we don't talk, we don't put our marriage first place, then the marriage will fall apart. Yeah.
I think when that moment happened, I remember when he said like, can we go out? I was like, are you kidding me? We have a newborn here, you ask me to go out? I was still struggling with that. When you mentioned that if we don't spend time with ourselves, we don't put our marriage first, then that's it. I don't know, something just in me just shook me up. Yeah, and that no, I want a marriage. Yeah, and can I really leave the baby behind for 2 hours? She's gonna be fine. Yeah, I think just sometimes when there is this like mum role that comes in, just so blinded by it and feels like the kid needs me. If not, like she cannot survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we also make it a point that when we grow our children up, it does not sacrifice our marriage.
We prioritize our values.
So then when the decision of how we sleep train our kid so that we can go out at night, or letting them know that like daddy and mommy comes first. If we don't love each other, there's no love to pass it down to the family. Yeah, teaching them since young so that they understood when daddy mommy needs to go out and spend time together.
By the way, I think it also makes sense that if you really truly love your kid, one of the best way to love them is love out of overflow. That means you are in love with each other, and then it makes it easier to actually love them. If not, the love can actually be a form of drawing love, because you are not giving love to the kid, you are drawing love from them. Because if you're not drawing from each other love, you will be drawing from them. And then what happens when the kid actually grows up one day and leave the house? You'll be left with someone that is that you do not know, a stranger in the house. I think that's the reason why there's a huge statistic of people or marriage breaking apart or getting divorced after their kids have grown up and left the house, because they no longer are able to draw love from the kid anymore, and then they are living with a stranger because they have not maintained that relationship. Yeah, and with that, it goes back to also like the business. Like, why are we able to work together in business? Because we already know our priorities. Our priority is our marriage, our family. Our number one priority in life is God, right? We believe that we need to be centered, we need to be aligned with God. So our purpose should be aligned with God's purpose. And that we are ultimately drawing love from God. So then we have the overflow to love each other, to love our kids, and then to run the business. Okay? And that's why, like, when we have this agreement in the business, right, it's just the business. It's not the highest priority, right? It should not affect our marriage, right? Just like how also sometimes when we have to work in the business, it should also not take away time from our time with our kids. So for us, business is not the highest priority. It's always our relationship with God, ourselves, our marriage, with our kids, which is family, and then our business. Right? And the business is actually a way to, and friends, correct? Friends, and then our business. And then actually the business is a way, a tool, a servant, right? To serve all the relationship that we have up the entire value chain, if you will call it that way, right? Because we can then use the money to serve, to give to serve God. We can use the money to give to our church, to spread the gospel. We can then use the money to bless each other. We can use the money to bless our family. We can use the money to bless our friends. The business is just the vehicle for us to achieve our vision. All right, guys, so I hope that has been an insight into a bit of our life and how we manage our marriage and our business and our relationship. And if you'd like to know more, you can just go ahead and comment in the comment section, and we'll be happy to do another video like that again.